they're married and they've got young children. How does that change things from a financial planning perspective?
Well, in short, it gives a lot more options. Again, it depends how couples plan, whether they're married or they're cohabitating. If they're looking at their household and the income and their future income as a whole, some couples are less keen than others to do that. But in general, when we're sitting down with clients, if we're looking at, well, what's the long-term objective? Where do you see yourselves being? What type of income do you need to live on? What assets do you already have? If you're given a reasonably open mandate, we'd be looking at something for Monica and Charlie where we'd see, well, now we have the option of having investments, for example, or pensions in Charlie's name. In the past, clearly, if they weren't married, you wouldn't necessarily be looking at transferring monies or assets between them. But if you're looking and saying that Monica is reasonably wealthy in her own right, and they want to have, for example, a certain level of income in retirement, or they want to fund maybe education, for instance, or buy another property in the future, we would take a step back and say, what do you have now, and who is best to hold that? And in many cases, it may be that holding it at least partly in Charlie's name will give them a lot more options, and in net terms will cost them less in tax. It will certainly open up the investment options. So even though we work, as you know, with a lot of clients that are US citizens here in London that have restrictions on investment options, there are some available, certainly. But clearly they're more if it's a British citizen with no other restrictions. So mixed marriages, as I call them, give a lot of flexibility as long as a couple is happy to look at the household income. And clearly, even though US citizens can consider pensions, again, more straightforward for UK citizens like Charlie, so we'd certainly look at that. And the twins, again, and Sarah may want to touch on this, that can bring complexities depending on if they have dual citizenship, and if we were looking at investments, then ordinarily we might look at, for children here in the UK, we sometimes have to be a bit more careful if the US is there in the background as well. But overall, very positive, lovely day at the wedding. And now we can make their lives a lot easier, really, but there still needs to be careful planning on the Monica side in terms of the US, but we've got more options now.